the fight a little tricky, but since his batch of rookies are pretty good at fighting, he has no worries about losing this battle. He immediately tells Carol to attack the goblins, while he tells Sophia to deal with the orc with the help of her long-range magical spells. They both follow his instructions as Sophia immediately jumps into attack mode and starts clashing against the goblins while Sophia gets ready to take on a goblin. Orhan then turns towards Logan, telling him to use his support magic, but before he could even control his sentence, Logan already creates a bunch of magical circles and starts casting agility spells at Carol to help her get an advantage against the goblins. Logan still isn't fully convinced that a person like Orhan should be guiding him in anything, especially since he thinks Orhan's advice is so simple that anyone in his position would do the same. Suddenly things get a little more tricky, though, as the orc triggers Sophia's PTSD and she starts panicking against it, not readying herself for an attack. This could spell disaster for them all, since even Logan is busy with his magic spells focusing on Carol. He helplessly looks at Orhan, wondering what kind of a guide is he, and why isn't he helping Sophia when he suddenly spots Orhan creating a magical sign, which decreases the speed of the orc by a lot. He then moves towards Sophia and tells her to take her time and aim true, as she is much stronger than an orc and shouldn't be afraid of it. Sophia takes a deep breath and then produces a huge fireball which completely destroys the orc into smithereens, surprising everyone in her party including Orhan, who had absolutely no idea that Sophia can use advanced level magic spells. Carol immediately runs back to Sophia and hugs her, while Orhan praises her for an excellent shot. Soon they reach the 35th floor as well, where they end up running into a death tarantula. Logan immediately loses his cool, thinking that they are dead since there is no way they can deal with that thing. But both Sophia and Carol have complete trust in Orhan and stand by waiting for his orders. Orhan immediately tells Logan to use agility up and strength up for Carol while using magic up on Sophia. Logan wonders whether this guy has gone insane, as he is using the same strategy as before with no change, but he decides to follow the orders and uses the spells accordingly. Orhan then tells Carol to engage the monster in close quarters combat and make sure to keep its attention on herself. Carol nods in agreement and immediately runs ahead at the tarantula. Logan tries to stop her, but Orhan stops him, claiming that if he goes up in front, they all will be at a huge disadvantage, so they should wait and watch. Orhan then tells Sophia to jump on the monster and slash its back to shred, and Sophia immediately understands the assignment, jumping on top of its head and running her blade on it from front to back. Orhan then tells her to keep its attention to her, but she has to be careful as the spider is venomous, so she must dodge all the attacks without fail. The spider starts trying to stab Carol with its pointy legs, but she keeps dodging the attacks one after the other and even deflecting some of the attacks back, surprising the monster. Orhan tells Logan that he needs to continue his spells on Carol, as her life is in his hands at this point. With that, he turns towards Sophia and asks her to pin the monster down. Sophia immediately understands the assignment and uses her arrow cutter ability to slash its legs down, forcing it to fall on the ground. Carol starts celebrating, but Orhan tells her to be careful as the battle is not over yet. The advice came out too late, though, as the spider monster wasn't dead yet and uses its webs to grab Carol and starts pulling her towards itself. Orhan immediately tells Logan to give Carol a strength up and speed up, which he does in without further arguments, but Carol starts panicking and fails to free herself from the web, begging Orhan for help. Orhan tells Sophia to ready her rock arrow and uses a sharpness-enhanced spell on her knives, which gives her the boost she needed to break free from the grasp of this monster. Sophia immediately follows it up by her rock arrow spell, which completely nukes the monster, killing it immediately. With that, their expedition for the day rolls down to an end, and Orhan praises Logan for his use of his support spells, as without those, his party wouldn't have been able to win today's battles. By the time they exit the caves, the sun starts setting and Selma congratulates all the rookies on their achievements till date, claiming that they have all done a terrific job till now and the last step of their journey will happen tomorrow, so they need to rest and eat properly. With that, they all depart their own ways when Orhan is stopped by Ant and Byrne, who call him out for a lunch, and after thinking for a while, Orhan accepts the offer, as it's not every day someone offers to treat him. On their way back to the city, Logan asks Sophia about the encounter she had where Orhan first saved her life and asks about the specifics, like what kind of spells was he using. Sophia tries to remember and replies that he used a wind blast first and then also used some magic to enhance his sword before slicing each and every orc into shreds. Logan realizes that something is very different about Orhan, since today he noticed that Orhan very casually used a spell to reduce the agility of the orc, which was moving towards Sophia. These kind of magic spells are known as debuffs, and are incredibly hard to do. Even the most incredibly talented mages like Selma herself can barely use a single debuff in a couple of days, that too with a bunch of prep. Moreover, Orhan acted like a perfect spellcaster, and knew when to use what aspect of a spell in a team fight. He knew when the exact timings of each enhancements would wear off, and even used preemptive spells to predict the movements of the enemy. This makes Logan realize that he got Orhan completely wrong, and he is not just a normal mage, but an actual genius. Back in the city, Orhan gets down at a tavern with Byrne and Ant, and they tell him to order anything he wants as it will be on them. They then start asking him about his actual role, as he used to be an enchanter in the hero's party, but now he claims to be swordsman. Orhan replies that he was always a swordsman, ever since he saw his grandfather slay a huge beast that once wandered into the village. He got it stuck in his mind that no matter what he will become a swordsman, and that wish came true for a while, as he was a swordsman in the hero's party. But then as they started moving to the lower levels, their pace started to slow down a little as the intensity and strength of the monsters they were encountering was increasing. At the same time, Selma popularized the team strategy where everyone depended on the enchanter for decisions, so they themselves decided to follow the same strategy. Unfortunately, since their entire party had no person with the affinity to become an enchanter, their best choice was Orhan, and for the sake of the party, he decided to let go his podium as a swordsman and became an enchanter. He starts thinking bitterly that how the hero's party has zero chances of clearing the next levels anymore, but decides that it's not worth it to think about all that anymore. He then tells the boys that he now wants to become the most well-rounded swordsman who can deal with even the lower level floors on his own without the need of any party, not knowing that the very next day, the hero's party was going to pay him a visit in the very dungeons he aimed to conquer. The next morning, Orhan goes on towards the cave, thinking about how this is going to be the last day of him leading the young party, and spots his Sophia and the others waiting for him not far off from the entrance. They all greet him warmly, and he can already feel that the party seems to have more confidence in him today than they had the last day. Even Logan seems to be much more receptive and trusting of him. Carol speaks up, claiming that since today is the last day, Sophia wanted to say something to him, and starts elbowing Sophia, pushing her to speak her mind. But Sophia seems intimidated and too shy to say her true feelings. It turns out that while taking a bath last night, Sophia ended up telling Carol that she wants Orhan to stay in the Night Rabbit clan and help them reach the top. Before she could bring herself to speak her heart to Orhan though, he ends up being called by Selma and tells Sophia that he will talk to her later before leaving. While walking towards the rest of the guides, he ends up overhearing a bunch of rookies that the hero's party is going to the dungeons today as well, and they are going to do a trial run with their new party to make sure that they are all working in sync. Orhan wonders which floor are they going to try, and he soon learns that they are not going to the deepest floor, which is the 94th floor, but instead they are only going to start from the 92nd floor to make sure that their new party is working as it should. Orhan is shocked at hearing this, as he doesn't think that the hero's party should start at the 92nd floor, especially with a new candidate instead of him, and they should instead try to go through some of the lower floors first to get a sense of their teamwork. At the end, he decides that it's a complete waste of time for him to think about the hero's party, and instead he should focus on what he is here to achieve. Back on the 92nd floor, Oliver, the leader of the party, hypes his team up, claiming that they should have no issues clearing through these dungeons, but still they should be on their guard. He then turns towards the newest member of their party, Philly, who is a green-haired enchanted. The tank tells her to show her what she can do, while the idiot mage chimes in that Philly is not a jack-of-all-trades jackass like Orhan, so they shouldn't have any issues. Oliver then turns towards Luna, who hasn't said a word yet out of silent defiance, as she never wanted Orhan to leave. But Oliver believes that after this dungeon run, even Luna will have to agree that their decision was correct and Orhan was the problem. It turns out that Luna wasn't even a part of the plan that Oliver and the others hatched to kick Orhan out of the gang. She only got to know about it the evening when Oliver was congratulating Philly for making it into the party and threw a welcome party in her honor. Anne and Derek both made fun of Orhan, claiming that now that they have a real enchanter instead of a good-for-nothing jack-of-all, they should complete the dungeon and make it to the 100th floor in no time. Anne even told Philly that apparently they have a shit ton of money, But Orhan was so careful with the spending that he never really went all out on anything for their personal needs. Philly gets a little uncomfortable, asking whether the party funds are not for just the party and not for any personal use. But Anne waves her thoughts away by claiming that they had loads of money, and what good is money for if you don't even know how to spend it. Oliver speaks up in the middle though, and tells them that they should be done with the Orhan talks by now and move on, as he is irrelevant for them at this point. Just as they raise their glasses in the honor of Philly joining their party, Luna walks in the room out of breath and tells Oliver that she needs to speak with him. Suddenly, she notices Philly, who she doesn't even know at this point, and asks Oliver whether they can speak in private. Oliver tells her that they can and should speak right here in front of everyone. So Luna has no choice and tells them that she just heard that Orhan is going to a raid with the Night Silver Rabbits and asks how can it even be possible. Derek and Anne both are confused as Anne asks how can he join the Night Silver Rabbits within 3 days, even though they told him how weak he was. Derek claims that he must still be waving around his S-rank badge, which he owes to this party, and that's how he got the job. Luna is confused and asks what the hell are they talking about, when Oliver tells her to calm down and listen. Before he could continue though, Anne budges in the conversation and tells Luna that the good-for-nothing jack of all Orhan left the party 3 days ago. The news of Orhan leaving the party stuns her, and she wonders out loud whether Orhan finally gave up on them. But Derek the giant idiot opens his big mouth and tells her that it's the other way. Orhan didn't leave the party. They are the ones who forcefully kicked him out of the party as he was a loser. Luna is shocked and turns towards Oliver asking whether this is the truth. Oliver calmly replies that they are telling the truth and tries to introduce her to Philly, the new member. Luna immediately cuts him off though, claiming that she made it clear that she will oppose anyone taking Orhan's place, which annoys the Zero-Ik tank, who screams at her to shut up as the new member is trying to greet her. Oliver calms Derek down though and tries to reason with Luna, claiming that Orhan is not good enough for their party anymore and he would just be weighing them down at this point. Luna claims that she doesn't agree to any of this, as Orhan is the core of the party, and she is the main reason they ever even got this far in the first place, and tells Oliver that there is no way they could make it any further without him. And the ass chimes in that she is the only one who thinks that Orhan was anything special, and anyways